Okay, so what movie are we gonna talk about first?
The Voyage Home.
Okay, go ahead.
So first there was this giant probe that neutralized all the things it passed, and then when it came in contact near Earth, it started a storm.
It neutralized things?
Yeah.
What did it neutralize?
It neutralized a space station and multiple ships that were investigating it.
These ships were checking it out.
Yeah.
And they got
stopped. And their life support was going down, so they were gonna lose all power.
Were they going after it, or were they hanging out?
They were just hanging out.
They were just looking at it.
Yeah.
And then it hurt them somehow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then it caused a storm on Earth.
Yeah. And the storms were so severe that it broke through like plexiglass.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Actually, we'll have to come back to that. So the glass broke at Starfleet headquarters in this movie, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny if you think about it. Okay.
We'll
come back to that.
I think they're really good.
Yeah. So then what happens?
Then the Klingon ship that Captain Kirk and his crew stole, they came in and they saw it and they analyzed the sound.
They stole it in the last movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have this Klingon ship and they had stolen it.
Yeah.
And they heading back to Earth, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when they get there, they see the probe and they analyze the sound and it sounds like a humpback whale. So they test it underwater and it sounds exactly like the call of it. And since they went
That's weird. How did they figure that out?
Spock.
So Spock figured it out. Yeah, I think that's funny because Spock figured out it's a whale, right?
He just figures it out.
It's like he had heard it before, right?
Yeah.
But first of all, he's an alien.
Yeah.
Right? So why would he know about a whale on Earth that's extinct?
21,000, like 3,000 years ago.
It's like 200 years after whales are extinct. So he doesn't even remember anything, right?
He wasn't alive then.
Well, first of all, they just brought him back to life, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't remember stuff from before he died.
Like, he doesn't even know, like, how to make a half-human response still.
So anyway, so he figures it out, right? And he's like, oh, no, it's whales, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what's their plan? What are they going to do?
They're going to time warp back in time to the 21st century where they can get some whales.
This seems like... So they can just time warp. It seems like they should do that frequently.
I know. They could figure out so much stuff.
Okay, so they're going to go back in time and they're like, well, let's go back to when they made this movie.
The 2100s. Yeah.
We're in a movie, whatever. So they go back in time.
And when they get there, they they go on a scouting mission and they find a Gracie and George humpback whale place and you can see them. And stuff, and Spock gets in the tank, and when they go downstairs, the whale's making a noise, and the tour guide says, we don't know why they we don't know their language, so we don't know why they make this noise.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is what somebody says, maybe they're talking to that man in there. And it's really just Spock swimming around next to the whales.
Yeah, I like that part too. He's like, and this is when he starts swearing too, right?
Yeah, he tries to act like he's from this time by saying lots of swear words, and it just turns out so bad.
Okay, so which swears does he say?
He says hell a lot.
Okay, so then what happens? So then he gets in trouble for talking to the whales, right?
Yeah, okay. And the tour guide says she decides to drive them back to like where their ship is, and she asked them why they were like messing with the whales and stuff, and Spock later throughout that scene says Gracie is pregnant, and she just slams on the brakes.
Yeah, she's really shocked by that. Yeah, well, and it's shocking because how would he know that, right?
Yeah.
Especially since it seems like he's out to lunch.
I
So, so then she drives him back to the park, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what happens there?
He gets beamed inside the ship, and Kirk and her go out for Italian dinner, and there the tour guide says,
Wait. So he just walks over to the ship and it just beams him up automatically.
yeah.
So, like, do you think they had to set that up beforehand? It seems like... Did he press a button or anything? I mean, could anybody walk up to the ship and it would just beam them onto it?
Maybe it has like they set up a detector,
Yeah.
and it detected them and it beamed him up.
If I detect... Yeah, maybe he wrote a program. If Spock detected, beam him up. Right? If he's walking towards the ship. And then he's got, like, a cool... You don't think he had, like, a little button up his sleeve that he... like just quickly pushed without anybody seeing it.
Maybe he was like this,
to look
so he
real
must
smooth.
have gone beep.
Because he's kind of holding his hands funny. Anyway, so then they go to an Italian restaurant for some reason.
And
Which I'm not sure why they do that.
and the tour guide says that the whales are being let out to sea tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
And Kirk spits out whatever he's drinking, stands up and says, "We've got to go now."
Well, it looks like he's never had beer before. They make him. Did you notice that they bring him the beer?
He was like,
and he starts to drink it, and he's like, "What is this?" You know.
He's like,
I find that very unbelievable, and because
know.
beer has been made for like thousands of years.
yeah, and even with the synthahol, it tastes almost
supposed to
the
taste the
exact
same, right?
same thing.
Yeah. So I could buy society deciding alcohol is bad for you and changing it out for the synthahol stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems weird to me.
Yeah. Maybe he just doesn't drink beer.
Well, and it also doesn't fit with the Kirk persona that he wouldn't drink beer too, in a way, doesn't it?
I know.
So then they run off, right? And
Yeah.
He's got work to do. Then what happens?
What happens is the tour guide lady goes to see the whales in the morning, and they had already let him leave. So because they
Right.
didn't want to draw a crowd, so she slapped her boss in the face.
Right, she slaps the hell out of that guy.
He's like, "Ah!"
Man, I remember seeing that for the first time. She really hauled off and hit him. And the crazy thing is now, like, I mean, I just almost can't imagine a professional situation where somebody would end up slapping somebody over something like that.
Really hard.
Because they were going to get sent away that day anyway. Oh, you didn't let me say goodbye to them? That's why she slapped the guy.
That's why.
That seems real. Like, I feel like that's
so
why.
Absurd.
She's lost her job at this point. I feel like she's gonna have to go to anger management training or something.
Yeah, and Captain Kirk gets it out and comes back because she yells for him right as the helicopter that Sulu is flying goes in, and you can just see Scott just pop up out of nowhere.
Well, we gotta back up because Sulu, he's flying a helicopter. How did he get a helicopter?
He went to like this Navy base, and he said that like I used to fly these, and he said
somehow they just give him one.
Yeah. They're like, "Can I try this out?" "Sure, take it. I don't care if you don't have a license."
Like a $4 million helicopter.
If he loses
in 1986.
like...
They're just going to give him the keys to that, you think? Okay, so I thought about this the other day.
Go for a test. Want to take a ride?
Is it possible that he beamed to the helicopter while it was like all locked up and just took it? And like stole this helicopter for a while? I think that's the most plausible thing, is that he asked this guy a couple of questions about it and then just beamed to it at night and took it. Well, I think this is the most absurd and funny part of this movie, right? Is that he's given him this formula.
And then somebody comes in and he's like, "Not now, Amanda."
It's so rude to that woman. This poor woman comes in to say hello or something. And he's like, her name is Madeline.
Oh, yeah.
"Not now, Madeline." And she's like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah.
So he's given him this formula for transparent aluminum. Now, this is what I think is really
That's
funny.
only 1 inch thick.
So they've got in the future, transparent aluminum. And here is the biggest plot hole of Star Trek, of the Voyage home. And the biggest plot hole is that he gives this guy the formula for transparent aluminum, right? So clearly they're going to use transparent aluminum for all the windows at Starfleet headquarters in the future, right? But there's this big dramatic moment at the beginning and the end of the movie where the glass breaks because of the storm, and they even have this little crew come in to try and shore the glass up with these big suction cups or something. And they're like, oh, the storm is so big it's going to break this glass. You mean transparent aluminum? You didn't use that stuff for your headquarters? You know?
Yeah.
And that's how they get the plexiglass for the whale tanks, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a ton of sense, does it?
Yeah. And then for some reason they just suddenly end up filling the whole engineering, like a cargo bay or something, with water.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How though?
Well,
they didn't deliver it.
Well, they beamed it with the whales.
Oh yeah.
Because they just beamed up a huge cube of water, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually have a theory for why the glass breaks at Starfleet headquarters. Okay, you ready for this?
Why?
The theory is that because they give the transparent aluminum to this guy, he is a businessman, right? So he makes this trade, and he keeps the formula for transparent aluminum a trade secret, and he limits the supply of it. So they only use it on starships, and it costs a fortune to put in starships, and so they don't use it on on buildings that are just on the ground and hanging out. Here's another crazy thing to me. So overnight they're working on this, right?
Yeah.
In the morning they load up all the plexiglass. That's when the doctor finds out that the whales were shipped out early in the morning, right?
Yeah.
They put them on a special 747 and flew them to Alaska. That, from San Francisco to Alaska, is got to be a 5-hour flight.
Yeah, at least.
Okay, so let's say 5 hours goes by, and then it's going to be at least... I mean, they would have had her helping to get the whales into the Bering Sea. They're not just going to unload them from a 747 that's full of water.
Yeah, they're going to have to, wait until they drop them off or something.
That's got to be at least another hour of... hours are going to go by here.
Yeah.
The other thing, Scotty's going to be exhausted. He's just gotten the engines back to work.
And somehow he was able to swim out of there when he's so tired.
Yeah, James.
When he should be.
James Doohan, do we believe that he's going to stay awake for 48 hours doing miracle work engineering, and then he's going to swim and not drown in the San Francisco Bay?
While holding someone.
Yeah, right. Well, no. Who was Scotty holding?
Remember the tour guide person?
Oh, he was helping her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and he was calling her Lassie, I think, right?
Yeah. They go back into their time again.
Mm-hmm.
They go a bit forward in time, so they're going about under the bridge. And their ship's about to sink, and Captain Kirk somehow managed to keep his breath held for 3 minutes underwater.
For forever, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was just somehow able to yank Spock into the water while still floating.
On this tiny Klingon ship.
Yeah.
And it's a fighting ship, right? But it has this huge cargo bay.
It's a clipper.
And this cargo bay is big enough that they can put whales in it.
Yeah. The ship is
It does not look like a big ship to me. But I guess
one of the humans was they were painting on it what they wanted this ship to be called.
Oh yeah, they put the HMS Bounty.
And they were one of them was the size of the top.
Yeah, I think that's just inconsistent set making.
I know.
You know, I think the best shot at the size that we got was when it was near the fishing ship that was trying to get the whales. Like, so instantly these whales are the target for fishermen, right?
Yeah, and then, like, suddenly the cloaking device disengages, and they look up, and they're like...
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
And they just turn the zipper
like, they
around.
decide to suddenly decloak after all of these things that have happened, when they could have just beamed up the whales.
Yeah.
And been done. Here's what I don't get. So, okay, let's assume there's a cargo bay that's big enough to hold 2 giant humpback whales.
Yeah.
Okay, we can
That's
get past
like
it.
6 tons.
Whatever. It looks like a big ship next to the Norwegian fishing vessel, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. But then, so the captain goes in, right?
Yeah.
And he's swimming in the water to try and get to the point where he can open the doors to let the whales out.
With a lever.
But if the whales are behind glass and he's opening this door, how does he swim out? Shouldn't he have to get inside the whale tanks somehow?
Oh yeah. He just finds a way to swim. We just suddenly cut to the picture of all of them outside.
He's just swimming out.
And then we see him like come up.
He comes up right to where they are.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been cooler to me if he, after opening the cargo bay, if he had swam back to the control panel for the transporter, which was right there, and he could have transported himself while underwater. And then that would have been cool because
that would have actually worked.
He could have appeared right next to the top of the ship, right? And like a bunch of water could have fallen away from him. That could have been a cool effect.
Yeah. You know what did happen though, which was kind of strange? They made it look... They decided to make it look dramatic, like he wasn't going to make it by making it this really heavy lever that he had to yank so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not really believable either. Well, you know, it's a Klingon ship, so maybe if you got to pull the emergency lever, you got to be a strong Klingon or something, right?
Yeah.
But, like, why would they make that lever hard to pull? Oh, this was a 1986 movie.
Yeah, so pretty.
It says
40 years old.
The budget was $21 million and it made $133 million.
They sure made some profit.
That's a lot of money.
I know.
And that's a cheap movie.
I know.
It only cost $21 million to make that. That would be a very cheap movie nowadays. They tried to save money by recasting Lieutenant Savick. Remember how Savick turned in Wrath of Khan? She was played by Kirstie Alley. Do you know who Kirstie Alley is?
No.
You don't know, because you haven't watched Cheers a lot. Kirstie Alley. She was in Cheers. I think. This girl, remember her?
Oh yeah.
She
looks like.
She played a Vulcan, you know.
Yeah.
Vulcan.
Kirstie Alley Vulcan Savick.
Yeah, she wanted a lot of extra money, you know. So they ended up recasting her with this other lady, who I don't know who that is, but they don't look anything alike. But nobody cared, so she didn't get the extra money she wanted. Apparently, she wanted a lot more money.
Huh.
She's
That's
played by 2 different people, even though it's the same character.
Yeah.
And they probably could have gotten away with saying it was a totally different person.
Robin Curtis was the one for the newer one.
Yeah, those people don't look alike to me.
No, they look nothing alike.
But they did that in Back to the Future too.
Oh.
Did you ever notice that the girlfriend in Back to the Future was a different actress in the later movies?
No.
Yeah, they changed her. All right, so that is The Voyage Home. Star Trek, The Voyage Home.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Holy crap.